When you do a documentary on 52, I'll show you some of them moves.
The technique is we fight off an angle, we defend off an angle. It's offensive off an angle. So, you know, it's the art of these angles that we're dealing with is the reason why it's called that.
My friends and very close associates know me as Ace. I've been studying the martial arts of 52 blocks for approximately 5 to 6 years.
First time Fleetwood Mac from Bed-Stuy.
My name is Diallo Frederick, Diallo from King Gang Frederick. It's Light Burley, LB52. Light Burley.
Peace. My name is Ramel, aka Mr. 52 Blocks.
Peace. Okay, we're Paul Malcolm is.
My name is Kason Bialar. All the same moves. We do all in the 52 here. All these are the same moves. All in 52.
The divine name is Supreme Intelligent God of Law, also known as Pac-Man Supreme the First.
And the handball court is where the dog fights will come. But also that's where you would see a lot of the hand-to-hand fights when they be back off in this area. Alright, the plan was 10 days. 10-day trip to New York City from Atlanta. And I was gonna have my son with me, and what we're going to be doing was go out to New York, go see the masters of 52 blocks, get a lesson, and basically get an interview. He caught me on the day we out here filming for the 52 blocks documentary, and we just getting it all done tonight. I'm planning to great night, no sleep. See? That's what happens in 52 blocks when you don't keep your hands up. You get your nose busted.
Oh, no, let's say you want to do that's going to grab. I hate them big. See that? Ow! I knocked the shit out of you. You knocked the shit out of me.
I see that. You it's hard to see the left hook.
52 block was not originated in prison, as far as I know. I recognize the godfather, the grandfather of 52 block as being Eric Tweed from Marcy Project. In Brooklyn, everyone recognized Eric Tweedy as being the creator of 52 block. And from what I understand, he was nice. I mean, it was like poetry when this man fought.
When was the first time you seen 52 blocks?
Oh man, that was maybe about 1971, I think. Because at that time, I was already training in the martial arts and the hip hop era was getting ready to be born.
It was Vanderbilt Project, Flatbush. It was 80, late 80s. I mean, I used to play a lot of hand games, you know what I'm saying? We used to play a lot of hand games, but I never knew exactly a definition for the hand game we used to play. There's a brother named Dijon, and another brother named Eddie, and Latif, older heads from my project Vanderbilt, and they all try to slap box, you know what I'm saying? That's when I think the first one I seen was also Goatee Bone, which is my old physical. We had a move called a ninja move. When you go like this, you block your face and you get like the eyes to see what you're about to do. It's like a chop move. And then you got a few other brothers, they got different kind of blocks, you can catch it. You got brothers who kiss it, and they play with it all the time.
In my research, I looked at Boré, Hussein Boxing, DC, but all of those things were also spawns off of the kinetic systems of combat, the Montu systems of combat. So all this still stems from Kenneth. And I think that's what Brother Ramel Scott has always said. He's always said that this is the kinetic art.
Well, when we're dealing with kinetic, we're dealing with chemistry, y'all. You know what I'm saying? We're going to science, which is mathematics. You know what I mean? And every element and aspect of 52 is dealing with mathematics. This is why we broke it down from Montu, the ancient name, to 52 blocks in the present day and time. You know this is God's defense. So when we dealing with God's defense, we dealing with perfect timing.
52 blocks it can be as ancient as Kemetic Egypt. It could be as ancient as 200 years old Dembe, or we can look at it what it has become in the United States, a homegrown martial art.
When I was doing research, I was looking at different martial arts that I wanted to study. I've had the pleasure of studying a few, not extensively, but I was really looking for something that was ours in terms of the black man, in terms of the original man. And 52 Blocks was something that I'd heard of when I was a young boy, maybe about somewhere between 10 and 12 years old. About 13, 14 years old, I actually got to see it, but I didn't know what it was. But there was some cats on my block when I lived in East Flatbush that used to throw hands really good, and they would use a lot of trickery and a lot of movements. Predominantly what I saw was what most people would consider uptown, where they were keeping their hands up and they were smacking and blocking the other guy's shots while they were moving in, cutting off space and just knocking cats out.
52 Blocks was born right here in the hood. And I hate to say it, but it was born in the ghetto. Just like rap was born in the ghetto, and it evolved into something bigger.
I learned 52 from a guy named Big Man. He was a local guy in the neighborhood. He was formidable with his hands and other things in the neighborhood. He recognized certain things about me at the time when I was younger. I was about 16 when he really started, when he brought me inside. And at that age, I was a little hothead with my hands, and he brought me inside and showed me something that I didn't know what it was. And he said, I'm gonna show you some skills, my man, and I'm gonna give you skills. These skills are gonna help you through your street endeavors.
I was taught 52 Blocks by my uncle, by the name of Uncle Ricky, aka Casablanca. He was somewhat of a big time hustler in Harlem back in the days, 60s and 70s. And you know, he taught me the beginning foundation fundamentals of 52 Blocks. And this was in 1977. He got murdered in 1980. So I had to take them teachings in advance. I had to be the scientist that I am and start figuring out the science.
I learned it from the street. From watching people like Butch Petway, Eddie Hunter, Kevin Hampton, Carlton Smitty. Carlton Smitty was probably the best fighter that I ever fought. May he rest in peace.
Brothers True God, Ra, G-Hove, a couple of good brothers that gave me directions into it as far as their thoughts on it. And because of those brothers, I was able to see what it really does. Like before them, it was just, you know, one brother was a better fighter than the other guy. I really didn't see the skill. So it was because of those guys that I was able to pick up what was special about them, which was defense. Defense, you know, clever thinking, clever hand feint. So those brothers got me on the road.
I knew what the 52 was because I ran into it back in the 70s when I first came back from down south. Cause I was a little bully, I'm not gonna even lie. I was a bully, I was running around, cause I was fighting, doing boxing. I was in the boxing, little martial arts and all that. And I ran to this young dude, and he was doing the 52. I didn't know what the hell it was. To me, it looked funny. I said, "Oh shit, what the hell are you doing?" You know, I'm used to boxing. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna knock your head off. Cause I'm a young dude, so I'm thinking about yo, am I in the fight fast? And he started doing it. I was like, wow, I didn't know what it was. He didn't beat me. I didn't beat him. You know, somebody broke it up and said, yo, that dude's from such and such school. And I said, school? What school? Because there was another dude around. There's a lot of dudes out here in East New York, man, that was nice back then too, man.
Well, where I've seen a lot of the 52 Blocks is up there near Harry S. Truman. Okay. That's in the Co-op City area, and that's where I became familiar with it.
One of the things I can say about Ramel is that for a man of his build and stature, you could never believe that this man can cut off space just like that and remove you from your offense so much that you got to backpedal. And once you backpedaling, fight's done.
With Ramel, number one, his movements and his rhythm of self is just unbelievable. And the brother is knowledgeable, and he's never been that dude to say this is a jailhouse system. He's always recognized the comedic origins, the Akeem Balaam origins, Africa, origins, and that's what I love about Ramel, is that mentally and physically, he's just on another level, and physically, his rhythm of self is just, it's beautiful to watch. It's beautiful to watch Ramel. You watch Ramel and you're like, dang, that brother is ill. So I really like Ramel Scott, like off the mat.
When you fight, you gotta have punches. No, with 52, you remember, you can just, because look, put your hand up, put your hand up, put your hand up, put your hand up. You know, you come in with it. So don't think it's all about having your hands when you do right there, like that. That's why if you ever notice, when you ever see me, my hands won't be closed. They might close at certain times when I'm coming right there, but a lot of times, because some of the blows is going to be open hands, some of the blows is going to be palm like this. You know what I mean? So it's like this.
When I was with Light actually systemized it, where he actually trained you in footwork, body positioning, and then blocks that are used to defend against strikes.
The back foot has backwards, right. So when you start putting that to fighting in your opponent, he steps right, you step right. He steps left, you step left, he step back, you step forward. So it becomes this dance, and because of that, that gives to the power of your shot. This is not only just to get away, this is my puncher. So if you're forcing me to go back, you have to worry about that. I'm pretty and I plan to stay pretty. You know? I ain't gonna just let you punch me in my face. And if you think fighting is rocking, socking robots, then you got the wrong one. Because you know, I like myself. And my style of fighting is called self-preservation. Meaning, I fight like I love myself, and so I will move around. I won't stay in the pocket unless I have to, and I rarely ever have to stay in the pocket. And that's about the end all. Like, but one thing I can say, and you can see it in all my videos, I am going to left hook you. I am going to get off, so you can call me whatever you want to call me, but you will get hit.
The 52 Black play part, because the blocking skills is what really say my Mr. Beautiful Face. I end up pretty Ricky.
If you have more than one teacher who has more than one expression of 52 blocks, I believe that enhances the art more than anything else. Because if you have this teacher, a teacher in New York, a teacher in LA, a teacher in San Diego, a teacher in Harlem, a teacher in Atlanta, and they all have their different interpretations of 52, and they're bringing, but honest, not just somebody that's just doing any old thing and just calling it 52, but I'm saying they're having a base of 52, and then they expand their expression of it. I think that's the best thing, and then that way people can see the art express itself.
52 block is all about personalized technique. Let's not get it. 52 block is about each individual technique. That's what makes it so. But then again, that's like with any technique, with any form of combat.
If I'm 5'9" and you 6'4", we got a different style, buddy. No matter, we doing the same shit, but we got two different body types. You know, stuff John Jones Bones was able to get off. You don't know he was. Did you see his reach? He could elbow you across the ring with his back to the ropes. You know what I'm saying? Like, what do you do with somebody like that? That's more than just a technique. He is built, you know, for that thing.
I think it's about growth. I think if we grow and learn from each one of these teachers, that I think that 52 won't go anywhere. It'll be a stamp, and it'll be legitimized. It already is legitimized within our community, but we want 52 to be a worldwide phenomenon when it comes to martial arts, and people to recognize that there's a system that was created in America by blacks, African Americans, and it is still fruitful, and it's not something that's just fly by night.
52 is a direct result as the way we fight. Like now, when you may go to a Caucasian neighborhood, see two white people fight. You'll see it may mainly be about who can overcome. You punch each other in the face, and the strongest one overcomes. In the hood, you can get into a fight, get punched in the eye, come home, and people thought you lost the fight. So it was it became a defense, became a thing of, you know, how you handled yourself in the fight. Even if you were fighting, you didn't want to come home banged up, claiming you were the winner. So defense, I mean, 52 came out of that.
I don't care how fast an opponent is, how big they are, how hard they hit, how skinny they are, or how slow they swing. Perfect timing is going to block the attack every time to protect myself.
Dirty street boxing, and some of it was coordinated, but it was nothing in comparison to the sweet science of 52 as I learned it and seen it executed as I was a young teen.
So the way it works, you have to create your own style. My style is called Pac-Man. Like I really switch up on you real quick and do what my brother teach me. And then it's like really, so you can see, bam, bam.
As Fleetwood told me once, some of the better 52 block fighters that he's seen, and he actually added this into his repertoire, were what you would consider contortionists. People that could turn their body in ways that you wouldn't deem a human could do just to get a strike off.
The better you can contort your body, the more successful fighter, any fight, you will be. So when I say contort, that means, right? Look at the body. Body right there. Feel me? And by putting this in there, you put in strength. You feel me? You feel me?
This right here, like it's like a chop thing too. It's like the fish right here. So what you do, you gotta be creative. You gotta size them up, switch up, switch up, switch up, switch up, switch up, bam, switch up. And you gotta pay attention and talk shit.
To the masters that are in this art, do not take this art to the grave. Take the time in your lifetime to find students that are worthy of this art so they can continue.
So I seen one guy in the streets, and this was like the 4th year after I brought 52 out. He was talking with his man, Spanish guy, and he did something. He did the 52. So you know I'm hyped. I run up on him like, yo, I don't know if you know who I am. I'm like Burley. I do that 52 stuff. I just seen what you did. Could I get a video of you doing that? He said, I ain't teaching niggas shit. Fuck out of here with that. And my whole face dropped like, what? I ain't teaching niggas. Niggas gotta go and get it how you get it. That's the problem.
An older brother told me that's the reason why this was kept a secret. The FOA, a lot of brothers, you ask old brothers today, you know any signs on the FOA, you know the signs of the Father's Twine, they won't have no idea of it. Yeah, never heard of it.
They didn't teach me the
because this was a secret that God told me. He only taught it to a very few brothers. And the God told me what happened was during that time, why the Father made it so secretive. My brothers ain't no secrets in our nation. Shit. Many secrets in our nation. Some of them just coming out today. But the reason why the Father kept this on the low was because he did not want us to look like a militant group, because they were sabotaging militant group, they was killing militant members, and this is what the devil was doing. He didn't want us to get involved with that. And the Father loved us, so he wanted to protect us, and he said, you know what, I need y'all to learn how to protect yourself mentally as well as physically, but I can't have y'all having this outwardly with everybody. So he only chose a very few brothers to learn this.
My teacher told me, if you got information, you got a duty to spread it. It's not yours. You can't die with it. It's not yours. You have to give it away.
52 Blocks is coming from a capoeira perspective, and that capoeira being a big part of b-boying, breakdancing, stuff like that. So when you see certain moves and certain poses, that's because a lot of brothers was into the b-boying era that did 52 Blocks.
All the breakdancing moves resemble the 52 Blocks. That three-step dance, that three-step hustle. I used to call it the black gangster hustle, because we look like, you know, gangsters with the sophistication and all the moves they would do, you know. And they dancing with a girl. The girl doing 52 Blocks too, you know. And we dancing, but the guys are doing the waves. Like some brothers have wavy hair, you know, Caesar. You see the haircut, but the hair's wavy, so they doing like this here. And they take the girl arm and they go over their head like this here. You know, they turn around and they do little moves like this. So it looks just like 52.
It was more, I'm not saying the ideology, but like capoeira. It was more in its execution.
Honestly, I can't totally disagree with that statement, because it actually is a lot of movement that looks like you're dancing. What it is it's the natural rhythm of the black man. what ends up happening is when you're doing the martial art, there's a certain rhythm that you're gonna hear. And the rhythm you're gonna hear is your rhythm. In essence, when you really look at martial arts, what you're really trying to do is make somebody dance to your rhythm. Whatever martial art you do. It just so happens that there's a little bit more soul and spirit in 52 Blocks because it's from the original man. So you're gonna make your opponent dance to your rhythm, whether you're on rhythm or off rhythm. And as my teacher Ra would always say, you're never off rhythm, because even when you're off rhythm, you can still strike and you can still block. So when you're doing the hand movements, there's a block here, there's a trickery here to make the person look at this. You're trying to catch something so that you're in their peripheral off balance, so that when you strike them, they don't even see when it's coming. So there's a lot of people that say it looks like you're dancing, and I kind of agree with that. But don't believe that it's not a dance, as a lot of people might say, the dance of death. Because once I got you in my sights and I got you in a rhythm, it's over.
The rhythm of Kung Fu and the rhythm of 52 Blocks are two different rhythms. When you're on the wavelength of the original man and we're doing what we do, shit, we want to look good even when we losing. We want to look good losing and look even better winning.
Footwork is all part of 52 Blocks. The hand is, if you notice, it's hand-feet coordination. Once you have hand-feet coordination, then you learn your blocks, your body movement. I mean, it's your whole body have to be in sync.
Broken it's like English. You got phonics, you got handwriting, you got script. It's broken rhythm, so everything moves at the rhythm. But when you talk about fighting, to be tricky, you should punch off rhythm. You should move on rhythm, but punch off rhythm.
My mentor and the cat that pulled me inside Big Ant used to always say you gotta have a rhythm of self.
The 52 Block, what was really ill about it though, it's really a mind fuck. It's more illusion than anything else. It's really swift.
Matter of fact, Roger Mayweather said it to Floyd one time. He said, keep fainting and keep thinking. He can't beat you. That's 52 at its core. That's what it's trying to teach you.
It's a lot about psychological. Right. Your mind has to be in the battle.
Okay.
So, so when your mind is in the battle, you got to be aware. You got to know, and you got to be able to pay attention to your opponent.
All right.
Does he drop his hands when he shoots the jab? Does he step off the center line and leave an opening?
It's how just play with the hand. This right here is the illusion. All that's illusion. Just get sound get close to you. All that's the illusion. It all depends what you're thinking about.
That's why a lot of people think that 52 is supernatural. You know why? Because like he said, you look at what he's doing and whatever he's doing, you said, okay, I know this is coming, I know that's coming. So you already got something prepared for that. Right. So it looks like you're looking into the future, which you are, because you look at the body as body type, looking at certain movements, and you're dictating, okay, when you throw that right there, I know I can get up under that and give him that.
Exactly. Now, when you said mindset, that's right. It's all about a mindset. See, for me, I put in my mind that I refuse to lose. I refuse to lose. And the fight isn't over until, until either I'm knocked out or I concede. Right. And the second one is I surrender. That's not in my vocabulary. So either it can only go two ways. Either I'm gonna knock you out or you gonna knock me out. How we reach that decision depends on what we do next. You have to know the elements of your terrain. For instance, I say, when you look at the ground now, you see that there's a wet spot there, right? All of this right here can defeat you because you got grass right here, so you can slip. I'm sure you've seen. How many times you seen someone get in a fight and they slip?
But sensitivity, so now you add something like that. to your
repertoire.
your 52 is he throws a shot, I catch it. Now the sensitivity from here to here tells me a lot about what he's gonna do, what's my best next move, what's his best next move. Like, you need to know that too. A lot of people get caught up in like mirror fighting. You just thinking about yourself. You need to think about your opponent. Like, you have to know his best strikes.
Name the prisons you was in.
Sing Sing,
Attica,
Arthur Kill,
Sing Sing,
Fish Kill.
Elmira.
Of course, I've been on Rikers Island numerous times.
God, there's so many prisons. I did 21 years altogether, dog.
I've been in almost every jail in New York City.
Let me see. I was in Wyoming,
Southport, Otisville State, and Fed.
no feds. Everything was state.
Brooklyn House.
I was in downstate,
Bronx House.
Ulster.
I went to Queens House for I think maybe 5 hours, but they wouldn't accept me.
Southport. Some other joints, mediums. I think I was in like 2 minimums.
Being on Rikers Island for a long time, even when we used to play razor tags to defend ourselves, we used to use our Coleman ID cards and give people rub marks with the razor. And that even as negative it is, that's just the speed of your hand. It was time to throw a punch, you practice all the time, you in the day room, in the floor building, you in the mess hall, you play the scene, like, yo, stop playing with your hands. And all through the 80s and 90s was like that.
I would get up, eat my breakfast, do some stretches, work out for like a half an hour, 45 minutes. I would do calisthenics in the form of isometrics. Let me see. I would do all type of leg exercises, squats. Let me see. I would do a lot of shadow blocking because, see, a lot of people wasn't even on my level at first. You know what I mean? So I wouldn't just be subjected to just play with my hands. It was only selected few people that was on my caliber that could even mess with me like that.
I used to run the telephone. This is a CMC. And let me tell you, prison order is about status. You don't run no phones, you don't wear no jewelry. If you not a A game player, if you don't have no status, you're not wearing no jewelry, you're not using the phone, and if you use the phone, you're getting what they used to call a Dougie Fresh, 6 minutes, Dougie Fresh, you off. Yeah. And I ran the phone.
Cause I'm a piece of shit. I'm a piece of shit, I'm gonna touch your shit. But the blocks is where a nigga catch you, like a sucker punch, for example. A lot of dudes, when they get sucker punch, the reason they fall out because they be shook.
On the island, you got 60 people walking the child. You got other 60 people who coming past your house. That 60 will jump on my 60. But I'm the wise man, I always play the back of the line. You understand? And the first 2 or 3 run up on me with, ice picks or whatever, bangers, I knock them out, or I disarm them. And when their comrades see that, another one probably will come and get the same kind of treatment. And he's not getting up off the ground. And when his other comrades see that, they running. They're not running towards me, they running away from me. I had people stop 20 feet from me with an ice pick and then change their mind and change directions.
Alright, just to recap, I'm talking about how 52 Blocks is dealing with, in the prison system, when we deal with 52 Blocks, we got to look at it more as a Shaolin temple, or how would I say, like a training area where you have the multiple opponents, you have the weapons, you have everything you need except life that you really want to live. So when it comes to 52 Blocks in the prison system, I always looked at it as Shaolin.
For me, it was just survival. I was disarming weapons, knocking people out, but I wasn't on savagery. I was stopping people from getting raped. A lot of guys from Harlem, I stopped them from getting raped.
Who was your prosecutor on that case?
She's a celebrity now. She used to be a prosecutor. Her name is Star Jones. Her real name is Starlet Jones.
When Harlem, Manhattan, wasn't getting no props on Rikers Island in the 80s. Brooklyn was definitely in the house and they were running everything. Queens was kind of quiet, because this before the cop killings. The Bronx was renegades. Let me see. What else I'm missing? Everybody else was kind of quiet, but Brooklyn was mainly loud. The reason why Brooklyn loved me, because they know I used to get busy with them hands. And they would always want to impress me, trying to measure their hand skill up next to mine. As a result, a lot of people was deodorizing themselves. Because I was one of the few Harlem cats that held it down and they respected. Everybody else was getting raped and disrespected.
The homie Rob, he been in jail and he's did a lot of time in jail, so his circumstance gave him a different type of element. So somebody like brothers that came home from jail was just beating brothers up, even if they didn't know 52, you know what I'm saying? Because they was up in there being real men again. You know, he's working out. You know, they say when the body is caged, the mind will flow. You know what I'm saying? So when you're locked up, you know, your mind opens up to all different types of things. You may be up there lifting weights, reading books, you know, studying the Quran or whatever. You know what I'm saying? You start to do more. And that's why these brothers that went to jail and came home, they was beating up brothers in the streets because they were more men, they were more focused. You know, so it's more about a focus thing over who's the better fighter, the street fighter or professional fighter. It's who's the focused fighter. If the street fighter is focused, then he can win. If the sports fighter is focused, he will win. So,
well, as I said, that was my first charge. While I was locked up, I caught a total of 7 new charges also. And while I was going to court for attempt murder on a peace officer, I was brought to the Bronx Criminal Supreme Court. And me and a friend of mine, my co-defendant at that time, Ronald Brooks, see, we were CMC, Central Monitoring cases, and we weren't supposed to be with your average inmates. And what happened was a guy by the name of Robert Jones came in the bullpen, and there was a bunch of them waving these pink slips, talking about, yo, I'm going home. Remember, the date is December 2nd, 1987. And he said, yo, we going home, we going home. We got ROR.
One of the guards from Medina, from Brooklyn, Ken Do. Now, me and Ken Do was up top together, and I'm going back to like 86 right now. We was in Collins, and you know, the Latin Kings was just, you know, resurfacing them by a new leader, you know what I'm saying, or whatever. But me and Ken Do used to fight back to back against these dudes every day. Either I'll be 5 and 10 against one, or me and Ken Do against 20, you know what I mean? And stuff like that.
I see today they trying to push the 52 into a sport. And all right, I understand that's all welcome, that's all good, because back in the days when jiu-jitsu was too dangerous to promote to the foreign Americans and the Europeans, Jigaro Kano, the grandmaster that created judo, he watered it down to jiu-jitsu, and now we have the judo as a sport.
It destroyed the original system that it was based and fundamentally founded on. I can understand the rite of passage if you weren't ready to learn this and you wanted to learn it for evil instead of protecting yourself. You wanted to learn it to be a predator, then you weren't taught this science.
Now, I heard a lot of stories about how brothers being in jail and they see 52 blocks, they don't get taught 52 blocks, and then they try to recreate whatever they see. Can you learn 52 blocks that way? What do you think about it?
They say imitation is the sincerest form of flattery, but when it comes to 52 blocks, imitating it from just looking at it, you're not going to learn it that way.
Brothers, you know, other brothers trying to do it, you know what I mean? Looking back now, they was just using basic minimal skills for a 52. Because back then, you know, brothers only had a few blocks, and they would incorporate that with whatever other style that they knew. You know? So it really took me to find out that it wasn't only 4 or 5 blocks, 10 blocks. The number is infinite.
If you're confused mentally, it's hard to react physically. Like John McCoy, the guy who made up the corkscrew punch, he had one of the greatest throw-offs ever. He was about to fight the champion, I think it was Billy Smith, and Billy Smith was beating everybody up with. And before the fight, 2 months before, a month before the fight, he made his man leak to Billy Smith's camp that he was sick. He wasn't doing too well. So Billy Smith can't. So why are we going so hard? This guy's gonna be sick, bro. We beat him up easily. Well, to their surprise, he wasn't sick. And fight night, he was actually stronger than ever. And Billy Smith had toned his training down, thinking he had to fight because he was sick and got beat up. So mental is everything, fighting.
I was on Rikers Island, and I was in the gym, hitting the bag. That was about, I think, like August 1984, and the officer that ran the gym, he seen me working out. He said, "Hey Mac, you ever boxed before?" And I told him, I said, "Remember I fought in the Golden Glove in 2003." So I said, "Yeah, I have a little bit of boxing experience." He said, "We have Hector Camacho coming in." This is when Hector Camacho was the champion, the light champion or featherweight champion of the world. And he said, he wants to put on an exhibition fight, so we're looking for 2 fighters. Are you interested? So I said, sure. And he came in Rikers Island, and it was an exhibition fight with 3 rounds.
How did you do?
Honestly, I shook him up. I shook him up the first round. The second round, I think he was like, you know what, this guy, you know, he had some talent. And the third round, he kind of like owned me. Yeah, I have to give him his props. He did some stuff that really impressed me.
Sugar Ray Robinson ducked the Burly Man because he had the one style that could defeat him. The greatest fighter in the world. Gangford said, what's the name? Sandy Saddler. The old mongoose said it. You can invite Charlie Burley to dinner, but don't invite him to a fight. That, you know, Charlie Burley was known as the spoiler, and that's why I am who I am. Burley is a spoiler.
I fought in 83, 84. I lost my first fight that year. I was fighting welterweight, Mark Breland, Terry Brandt, Michael Brandt. They all were fighting. Mark was going for his 4th rub that year. And then I fought in the 84, 85, in which I fought junior middleweight. And that year I was 5-1 and 4 knockouts. My first fight was against a guy by the name of Derek Maxson. And knocked him out at 144 the first round.
Like you already reaching. When I turned back, that was Charlie Burley.
When I combined 52 block with your basic boxing techniques, I became more structured, more disciplined. I guess discipline would be the best word, because there's certain things that you can do in the street that you can't do in the ring. And while I was somewhat limited in the ring, I became, I believe, more technical. I think that's the correct word, technical.
Of ring fighting and street fighting, this death in the ring is death in the streets. Okay, so what's the main difference in the street? Environment. You can fight on the cobble hill. We could be fighting on steps. We could be fighting in the park. We could be fighting on the grass. See, now that's where professional fighting are having fighting on the level. The playing field is even. You know, they check. You got everything is set up. So in the street fight, you're gonna have to fight, and then you could be fighting on a glass, ground with broken glass. So your environment in street fighting is the biggest thing you have to work on, and that can affect your skill. Because if we got to fight on top of an ice hill, and I'm a boxer, and you're a wrestler, who has the advantage? You're used to fighting on the ground, so even though it's ice, you have a better chance. I'm used to standing up, so I can't fight on ice. So it all becomes environment. So I see it like this. The professional boxer, Mike Tyson, would you try to rob him? But he's just a sport fighter. Why wouldn't you try to rob him? Because he's a fighter. It doesn't make a difference.
Because he's a dangerous fighter.
Because he's a dangerous fighter. And he's a ring fighter. He's a ring fighter. So street fighter, the ring fighter. And he was a street fighter, and you see what he did to Mitch Green. And so let's take a look at what a ring fighter did in the street. He made Mitch Green eye like this. And you know why? Because what does the ring fighter have over the street fighter? Practice. Like, that's what you can't take away from the ring fighter. The street fighter, how many times do you get a chance to practice? Never.
you practice when you have to fight. And I was there, I seen it. It was, you know, besides slap boxing, very few brothers was waking up every day with this Japanese, I'm going to train by 52. No, they used it when it was time to fight. Mike Tyson wakes up every day training. He wake up, he train Miles. Mayweather, he wakes up every day training. So ring fighters, they train on the regular. So how could you think that's different from the streets? Like, oh, how could the street fighter be better than him? It's like trying to say the guy who plays ball in the park is better than Jordan. And Jordan is in the NBA. And I remember the And1 guys. Remember the And1? And they had it, but one of them guys was getting NBA called him. And he had to do an NBA tryout. He failed, and he said that shit was mad hard. To run up just to do the NBA tryout. Burnt them out.
My prison record inside the ring was, I had 10 exhibition matches, 10 fights, and I won 8. 7 of those by knockout. I had a 95% knockout rate.
The fact that he died, the sanitation worker, really touched me. And I promised him and myself that I was going to take his name and bring his name to fame to deserve. I think I did a pretty good job.
From the fruit of Allah, but as we practice it, it becomes represented as the fighting of Allah. You know, and this is definitely for the family of Allah. You know, for his fruit. So, you know, the FOA is symbolically has many acronyms that are connected to it that expresses itself. And the book is pretty well put together. I've been able through the years to accomplish a lot of the sciences that were placed in this book. As far as I got a lot of awards and degrees from different styles in the martial arts. I go through a lot of the history of when this book was first compiled. I was in college, and I used to go up in the mountains and train, and at that time I was more connected to Master Yama's type of style of training, where, you know, I would use whatever was in nature to practice with.
Max Jurgen Frazier was an author and revolutionary. He was the creator of SUN, Society of United Negroes in the South Side of Chicago. And when I grew up reading his books, and it created a consciousness of my mind. He had 15 Familiar Faces, which is actually in the Baseball Hall of Fame library, and he had Black and Unequaled, which was his other book. And those two books would always inspire me when I was a young man, even when I was going through struggle, going through the hard times that I grew up in. His books gave me knowledge of self, gave me knowledge of my community, the heroes and heroines that fought for us as a people. And every time I read his books, I always told myself that when I get older, one day I'm going to write a book. I'm going to write a book. So I was inspired by my father's books to become an author. And my first book, Revelations of a Warrior, I wrote actually from my brother. My brother was saying, you know, you got to get out of the situations that you've been doing. You know, you've been on these streets, you've been hustling. Now you got to find a way out.
The first book was titled Where Have All the Children Gone?, which addresses the issue of, as a society, are we doing everything that we can do to help protect our younger generation? My new book, which will be out next month, July 13th, 2014, A Walk Through Eternity, the Fleetwood Mac Chronicles. And afterwards, by the end of next year, we'll have this book titled Let the Children Sing, which is a sequel to Where Have All the Children Gone?
This book will explain from the time of 52 by word of mouth, from the slave trip and the Atlantic slave trade triangle, up until the point in which I gathered the information of the 52.
What's some of your favorite writers?
Of course, Maya Angelou.
Dr. Frances Cress Wesson.
Donald Goins.
Another one is Queen Brown. She's a fiction writer.
Nikki Turner.
But of course, I like Alex Haley also.
Dean Koontz.
course, I like Bruce Lee.
Robert Ludlum.
Sun Tzu.
Yeah, those are my favorite authors there.
And then I do read urban lit. I like Treasure Blue too, that's a New York cat.
Is 52 blocks a complete system equaling offense and defense as a martial art?
Certainly, of course. It's a block for every attack and an opposite counter.
You look at 52 blocks, we're offensive, we're defensive.
My style is not built for the ring. I'm built for street fights, so that shit you doing right, and I'm gonna rip your balls off, and I don't believe in none of that shit. Like, first and foremost, I'm a fighter. You can only do what you train. Do you rip balls off regularly?
Trained in JKD. I've trained in Aki Jiu-Jitsu. I've trained in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Trained in wrestling, boxing. I boxed at Sepulveda Park when I was 13, from 13 to 14. And I said Aki Jiu-Jitsu. And I've trained in Cali.
Sure, Carlton Smith, #1 fighter. We fought for 3 hours. Back in my days when we used to fight, we didn't fight. I mean, the time range varied. If I was fighting, let's put it like this, an average Joe, most of the time the fight didn't last 3 minutes, 4 or 5 minutes. But when I fought another, that 52 practitioner, I mean, I'm talking, when I give him the title of 52 fighter, it's because he knows he got something with him. I fought Black John. Me and John had about 5 fights. I won every one of those. Me and Carlton we fought once. We fought for 3 hours. He waited for me the next day to come downstairs and said, you know what? That was the best fight I ever had. We got to do it again.
He put the card, it was a 9 card. He had to do 9 push-ups. So in that process, you had to be fast too, because there's a lot of hand things going on for you, the eyes and hands. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 90.
I've trained a lot of people, but like, one thing with training is this is a hard thing to keep up. So people are warriors for 6 months and then they give up, or they fall out of it, or they get injuries, or they lose the thrill, or whatever the case may be. This is a hard game, and so I've trained a lot of people, but I'm not going to be one of those people like, oh, I got 2,000 students. I don't. I don't call everybody a student because I really even call myself a teacher. I'm recent with the teacher thing, and because I think you gotta have a lot of information to be a teacher, and you gotta also have a patience. You gotta build the patience. You gotta build understanding of how to give information to other people. So I'm very recent with the teacher thing, and but students, I got young Burley. That's probably like one of my prize students, because when I met him, he couldn't fight at all. Like he wasn't even looking me in my eyes, and I took him all the way to a Golden Glove champion. So he's the one that showed me that I could, when I was doing it, going through the amateur division, all of the coaches was telling me that shit's not gonna work, and the judges are gonna stop that shit, you're gonna elbow somebody, and your fight is gonna get disqualified. It never happened to us. I'm happy to say we were able to use it. He became champion. He doesn't fight now.
Training fighters actually has enhanced me. Doing 52 and then working with MMA, because I train MMA fighters, doing that and then having to adjust it for the MMA world makes it enhanced from my perspective, because I see a fight game from a different perspective, from a professional fighting level, and then I have to adjust it to the professional fighting level, what they can and cannot do, what works and what won't work within the ring system, how to create the straight infighting that we have in our elbows techniques and our movements and coming off the V and footwork, but at the same time with the hand movements and freezing the person and being able to attack and counter their attack. It's enhanced my ability more than anything for me to work with fighters. Working with fighters teaches you how to be a better instructor and a better combat person in general. And I think that it's enhanced my 52 to another level that I wouldn't have got if I didn't train amateur and pro fighters.
Y'all did well. 52 blocks was definitely evident. You know what I'm saying? It manifested God wise because I see my science and I see y'all been teaching him what I've been teaching y'all. You understand? But it's all good, it's all love, and it's all peace. So I just would imagine that, you know, y'all elevated yourselves. I got love for both of y'all. Ourselves and Ace. Peace.
But did I not come to throw hands?
Yeah, you came to throw hands, Carl.
I came though. I didn't bitch up though.
You came to throw hands.
A lot of motherfuckers bitch up though.
Stories that you would hear about the Boogeyman or Chupacabra, you know, it became so that it was a legend, and you never knew whether this individual existed or not. Because when I heard actually about Mother Dear, it was in my very early teens and until my adult lifehood. So I don't know if an individual really existed to that point, but there are accounts that this person was really there. So I can take about those accounts that I know of.
Mother Dear was continuing his homo journey, and you know, the best way he knew how was he used ingenuity and went to the new jack dorms and houses to line up the new inmates. You know what I mean? He would get familiar with them, and whoever he seen detected that had no type of hand skills, he would dominate them and conquer them on a sexual level.
As a young adult, you were scared to go to the penal institution because you didn't know what would happen to you. And all you heard was stories of Mother Dear. If you go to the penal institution, which is known as jail, then you're going to run into an individual named Mother Dear. And he's going to turn you out into something that you're really not.
It wasn't like he was trying to run up on brothers, you know, that had reputations with the mean knuckle games. You know what I'm saying? He avoided those brothers like the plague. You know what I mean? And even back then, a lot of dudes with mean knuckle games or whatever, these dudes was on some fruity stuff too with them boys. I saved a lot of black people from Harlem, especially Harlem, from getting raped. And this was in that 80s era. So that's the whole science with Mother.
Mother Dear was the master of the catching kids. He catch your shit like this. Like you throw a punch, and you throw the punch, you catch your head, and throw it back.
2015, I was planning the trip, doing a bunch of networking, and I came across Saladin's students, and I set up an interview with Saladin. I met him a couple times being out and about, and Saladin told me that he'll give me the interview and make sure that there's a whole lot more history being told, him coming from the jailhouse era. And Saladin passed away right before I got to New York in 2015. He returned maybe 2 to 3 weeks before I got there. And I want to do this memorial piece for Saladin so that brothers can never forget and always remember Brother Saladin, whether it's from the Constellation videos or different pieces that I will bring you in this memorial from his family.
Peace. My name is Law Mathematics. I moved from Medina in 1972 I moved to Astoria, Queens, where I met my brother, King Saladin, Allah.
I think I really didn't know who the God was, man. I met him, and it was just on some hustling thing. I was hustling, and I met him, and we started kicking it and everything. But I never knew that he was 52 Saladin. I never even knew who Devon was. But then one day, I was going up A Street in Astoria, but that's where Saladin was from. Saladin and Devon is really from Astoria. You know? Well, I was going up A Street. And there was a dude. He like challenged him, like, yo, you don't know that, you can't do this, you can't do that. And I didn't know what they was talking about. And he said, yo, I'm gonna block everything. I'm gonna block all your stuff. And I'm gonna hold your hand and I'm gonna kiss it.
Throw it. Whatever you do, eat cat.
And I'm looking at him like, oh, that sounds like that 52 thing. So I wanted, you know me, I want to see this. So the dude, Saladin got beer, he got a beer in his hand and everything. So he drinking the beer, the dude throwing it, he like this, bam, blocking everything, catching it. Then he caught his hand, and then like this, hold up toward him and kissed him. I was like, oh shit. that was phenomenal. Yeah, no, held it like this, caught it like this. I don't know how the fuck he caught it, but he caught it in a way where the shit was positioned back at him, kissing, and then threw it. Like I told you, I'm gonna catch this shit.
Up by the liquor store, we set up camp outside the liquor store, the local liquor store. So while we were there, you know, we'd be slap boxing, like put our hands on, you know, we always did the, you know, slap box. Saladin, you know, my swinging, especially he had a wine bottle in one hand, catching blows with the other. He'd be catching them with a wine bottle in his hand.
Saladin 7 block with Mother there. Me and Saladin was in the 4th grade together. 600 school.
His mind was the thing. The God was so much into history, man. He could pinpoint certain European, not just black, I'm talking about European history, the movements of masses of people from country to country. God was a scholar, man. God was a scholar, a warrior scholar.
Being one of the 52 originators in the city of Brooklyn.
Saladin's heart, as far as you talking, I ain't talking about his courage. That spoke for itself. There was no running, there was no turning his back. But I mean his heart, as far as, yo, he loved, and for real, he loved whatever he loved it. There was no strings attached.
I was in Elmira when Melvin Glenn got beat by Saladin. I was right boxing.
Elmira got beat by Saladin.
By Saladin.
A lot of people was like, what you call, just riding them, wanted to be in the limelight with him, but didn't necessarily have his best interests at heart. So he had to cut a lot of them off in the later in life, and that's what he did. But I just want everybody to know that he loved, you know, he loved and was loved, and he was a scholar. A scholar. It wasn't all just, you know, his physique.